we're going to put some connectors on, and of course here's our culprit. I normally don't use any kind of a stripper on that kind of wire, because even if you've got the right size, when you're trying to take these babies off here, that has a tendency to cut into the shield braid, and the last thing you want to do is break any of those off. I take and just grab my little nippers here, and I start a cut about that far down and then just peel it back like this. Just get it in there.
Personally, I just bite through the insulation. I don't have to use the wire cutter things. You know, it's easier that way.
The shield wire. Okay, so that's a nice clean, we never put any blade against that shield there, so none of it's going to tear away. Then the next thing, of course, we're going to do is we're going to pull our shield apart, and then we're going to fray it out. So, and that takes a bit of time. Grab the trusty old knife. You know, use the dull side. Don't go destroying your braid with the sharp side of your knife. You just kind of go around and pull your braid loose like so. Now, generally, when you're putting these PL259 connectors on, you're going to want to cut about a 1/4 of an inch. Let's see, do I have a tape measure anywhere to show you? Probably not. Well, anyway, about a 1/4 of an inch. Leave your insulation out, about so much. So now it's at this point where these guys do come in handy. Make sure that you strip it with a size larger than what you think your inner conductor is here. And you see this inner conductor here, right there. You don't want to match it up to the right size. You want to go a little bigger. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go a little bigger here. And we're going to snug down about a 1/4 of an inch. Somewhere in there. Leave about that much. And then we're just going to pull it off like so. That way, if you use a bigger stripper size than your wire and your inner conductor, you won't score those wires either and risk any damage to them. Keep it all nice and clean and twist it nicely after you've stripped it so that it's got some solid appearance to it, no fraying. Okay, we've got this far, now we are ready to tin.
No, not tin, not tin, no, not tin.
We're going to brace it up here a bit so it sits out. Grab a couple of pliers. Now I could use a clamp, but I'm trying to show you without all the special tools here how easy it is. See, there you go. Sitting right where you want it. We'll fire up our soldering iron, and while that's heating up...
Flux? Did somebody say
Now this is the important part, I can't emphasize enough, flux. Sure, you can get solder that says it's got the flux built in, but trust me, get yourself some really good metal flux and put it on there, because it is magic. It keeps the metals clean and it helps all the solder adhere to it nicely. So truly, flux is your best friend when it comes to soldering. And some of you might get lazy and say, I'm fine with this stuff that's already inside the solder. Well, that's okay. But I can solder almost anything to anything with a little flux and a little bit of heat. I don't have to have all that heat. So in the meantime, while we're waiting, let me show you. Now, you need to get a better sponge than I've got. This sponge has got some synthetics in it, so it leaves behind a little bit of a residue. Get yourself a natural sponge.
Ow!
But roll it
Hey, that's
to clean your
smart.
tip. See how shiny that baby is? That keeps your heat conductivity working right. So once you get to the right proper heat, which, let's see how my meter's coming. I'd say I'm about there. I'll go ahead and we're going to start this process here. So we're going to put a little bit of solder on the solder iron to get it started, and then we just walk along here. Look at that. Look how simple that was. You don't have to tin a lot, just a bit, and there you go. It's all tinned. As a matter of fact, I got a little bit too much on the edge there, so we'll throw that off. And now, on a makeshift clamp, we're going to twist one of these babies on there. This is where you got to have some real strength here. And so I'm going to take my knife blade, and we're going to still work a few of these braids out, because we don't need any braids to... Okay. Alright, now that ought to do enough for me. I think I can make this work. So take a look at here. You've got this big part over here and the little part over here and your threads. We're going to put the big part against the wire here and force it on as best we can.
Force it. Yes, force it.
Keeping your braids pulled back. Don't let them bunch up if you can help it. And twisting if necessary. But my feeling is I've probably got way too much braid here, and so you're going to see me struggle trying to get this on. Nevertheless, I'm going to keep trying here because it's my nature. Just like that. You've got your insulator showing right here. And that's enough. Alright, now, the next trick. Put one of these babies on. And just take and screw that one on. Make sure you fit that through the hole and have it come out this end. See right there? Right there, yeah, okay. Now I'm going to screw this baby down. All this like so. Work it this way here. Yeah, I'm going to use grab. It's not the best hair pliers, but I'm going to just grab this and give it a snug there. There we go. Now we've got a lot of wire coming out of here. We're going to go ahead and solder that baby on next. So pull all these back here. I'm going to lock it down again. And turn it, keep it sideways, not straight up like this, because you don't want the solder to flow all the way down the bottom of the tube and pool in the back there. And again, like I said, I've got a little drop of flux down here. I'm going to try and pick up with the file and then put it back on there. You really want the flux on the inside, not necessarily on the outside of your center pin here. Okay. Then we come back again with our solder, and it's best always to heat up the part that you're going to work on before you hit it with the solder. And then we're going to hit it with the solder here. And we've got our flux doing its thing. You really should come in here and try and do this faster than normal. I'm going to come over the top here and push some solder in there. It's important to go quickly because you don't want to destroy your insulators. But you want to get enough solder in there that you have a generous amount that will cover the tube inside. I'm going to hit a little bit on this side too, just for the heck of it. Just to kind of seal the end here. There we go. Got a good seal on the end, but I'm going to hit it one more time after it cools down, because I don't want to have the solder running all the way through. I just want this edge here, the very tip, with a little more solder on it, because I'm going to try and round it off after I cut it. So we come over here and we just tap a little bit of solder right on the edge there. There you go, look at that. Now I have to do a little filing because I left a bit too much solder, but that's okay. Okay, that is step number one. I'll be doing exactly the same thing on the other side of the cable. So now that we're that far, yeah, we got a bit of solder left, too much there. I'm going to trim it here and let it cool a bit, and I'll file it down just a touch to smooth it out. But that's it. That's tinning and putting on your PL259 connector. And we're ready to go with a good cable here. Now this extra stuff on the back, sometimes people will pull it up, clean it off and do a little solder there just to make sure that you've got a soldered ground on there, but I'm not going to worry too much about that because I really had plenty to work with, and it's all inside, should be just fine. This isn't going to be an outdoor cable, so I haven't got a big concern about a lot of oxidation coming up anytime soon. Okay, well, there you have it. Got this, got one on the other end, got a good cable here. This is Wallaroo Mac. Come on back.
Hey, don't forget to subscribe.